Hello everyone, welcome back to Technical Potpourri. This is Sudipta, and in today's video I'm going to show you top 10 advanced Claude commands. If you are going to use those in your project, you will become Claude Code power user. Excited? So let's check them out. So I have an Express API project here, and this is a project which I'm going to use to show you all the important Claude commands. So to start with, I am inside my terminal, and the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to initiate Claude. The command for this is Claude. Okay, once I do that and press enter, it's going to ask me whether I trust this folder. I said yes, and now I am inside the Claude. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the command which is called the init command. The way to initiate that command is / followed by init. And basically what this is going to do, as you can see, it's basically initialize a new claude.md file with the code based documentation. So let's start that, let it execute, and meanwhile I'm going to tell you what this command is all about. Okay, so it started executing. Basically, before you start any project, you should run this. It will create a claude.md file in your root directory. Think of this as an onboarding guide for your AI. You can define your coding standards, naming conventions, or any kind of best practices that you want to follow. And honestly, once initialized, Claude stays aligned with your architecture without you having to remind it every 5 minutes. So that's why it's very important that you always do a /init command at the beginning of the project to create the claude.md file. As you can see in the file explorer, there is no claude.md file. Now it's telling, do you want to make this edit to claude.md? I said yes. So I accepted that, and now there is a claude.md file. Okay, I believe the claude.md file is created. So let's open that and see how it looks like. As you can see, this is the claude.md file. It has the commands, how you can run this entire application. This is architecture. It is basically an express.js REST API demo with in-memory data storage. There is a data layer. This is the front-end layer. So basically a very good summary of your project that you have stored inside the claude.md file. And any subsequent command that you'll give to Claude will always use this claude.md to get the context of your project. So you don't need to do this every time. So that's why it is very important to start your project with the /.init. Okay, with that, it's time to move to the next command. The next command which I'm going to show you is called the copy. So basically what this command will do, this command is basically copies everything Claude Code generates in the current session straight to your clipboard. No highlight, no scrolling, just type copy and it's ready to paste. So let me show you. So let me give some prompt to Claude first. So let me put this, which is basically, can you please review the code base and come up with a list of best practice enhancement that needs to be done? Okay, let me give this prompt to Claude and let's Claude bring some information back. As you can see, Claude gave me a lot of best practice enhancement that can be done in this project. Okay, let's give one more comment, which is basically what test strategy should I implement for this project? So this is the second one I'm giving. Okay, let's enter and let's see what Claude gives me. Perfect. So it's done. Now the way the copy command works, so if you type copy /copy and press enter, what will happen? The last response from the Claude, which is basically all about the test strategy, that is being copied to your clipboard. And I'm going to show you what exactly will happen when you try to paste that. So for that, let me bring my notes, and here I am going to paste that. And as you can see, whatever is being recommended by Claude for my test strategy, because that was the output of the last comment, is being copied to the clipboard, and I can paste that here. So the advantage here is that I don't need to highlight from my terminal and do a Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. Just one single command will copy the entire last response from the Claude and put it in the clipboard. Now the question is, what will happen if I want to copy some other response, right? Let's say the response before the last one. So that also I can do copy and followed by in. In means like what response you want to copy. So if I want to copy the second last response, I'll put 2 and then enter. then it basically copied some other responses. So let's delete that and try to put here. Now this is the response which Claude gave me for my first question. So what I'm trying to tell here is that if you just put /copy, then it will copy the last response from the Claude. If you want to copy some other responses from the Claude, then you need to enter that number. So if I put 2, it means the second last response from the Claude will be copied in the clipboard, and then you can use that. So this command is very helpful. With that, it's time to move to the third command. So third command is called effort. So what this command will do, this command will give you the direct control over how many tokens Claude spends on response and how fast you get an answer. So it takes basically 3 arguments: low, medium, or high. Low will be used when fewer tokens, faster response, great for quick task. Medium is basically balanced. This is typically the default one. And high is basically the deep reasoning, more throughout, cost more token. So I'm going to show you what you can do. So let's say I want to summarize what is there in this claude.md file in 5 bullet points. So I don't need deep dive analysis for that, right? So what I can do, I can put effort followed by low, and then what it will do, it will immediately set the effort level to low, which is basically the quick, straightforward implementation with the minimum overhead. The important factor is that it will use less token. So now if I give this command, summarize this claude.md file in 5 bullet points, and press enter, less token is being used to get that information. But let's say I want Claude to review the architecture of this project and identify any potential performance bottleneck. So it's not an easy task, right? It needs a deep thinking. So in that case, it makes sense that I will change the effort level to high. And the moment I do that, it sets the effort level to high, which is basically comprehensive implementation with the extensive testing and documentation. And here, if I press this one, review the architecture of this project and identify the potential performance bottleneck. So now if I press enter, more token will be used, but this time it's basically doing a full architecture review of my code base. So it's going to do a deep reasoning, more thorough, and it will definitely cost more tokens. Let's see. Okay. Based on my full read of the code base, here is the thorough performance analysis. So that's why this effort command is very important. Claude goes much deeper. It reads more files, considers more edge cases, and gives you a more comprehensive analysis when you mark the effort as high. Okay, with that, it's time to move to the next command, which is a context. Now, what the context command will do, it will show you a real-time snapshot of how full your context window is. Think of it as a fuel meter for your Claude Code session. As you work, sending messages, having Claude read files, generating responses, your context window fills up. And when it gets too full, Claude's performance degrades and it starts losing track of earlier instruction. That's why understanding of Claude context is very important. And how you can do that is very simple. You just need to type / and followed by the context and press enter. And as you can see here, this is the context what I have now. I have used 15%, and this is the model that I'm using, Claude Sonnet 4.6, and I have used 15% of context window. So before I go to the next command, just imagine your context usage is 60% or 70%, right? So in that case, it makes sense that you compact your context. So that is what the next command is all about. It's called compact. So what this command will do, this command will compresses your entire conversation history into concise summary, freeing up context window space while keeping the thread of the session alive. This is very important because this is what is different from the clears command. So when you use /compact, Claude remembers your context, previous context. But when you use /clear, Claude will basically erase everything and it will start from the scratch. So that's the difference between compact and clear. Okay, so let's do a compact. You can definitely put your optional custom message here. Let's put a message like performance review and enter, and it's doing that. It's compacting the conversation. So as you can see, the compact is done. So now if I put the context again, so previously it was 15%, now it's 12%, as you can see in the screen. So it's definitely compressed the conversation history. So this is very important. With that, the next comment which I'm going to show you is called the clear. So sometimes you are done with your current task and you have to start a completely new unrelated task. So this is a situation where you need the clear command. So clear command wipes all the conversation history. Your context window goes to 0. Your code file Claude edited during the session are still saved, but Claude has no memory what was discussed. So let's say now it's 12%, right? So if I put clear, which is /clear, and press enter, after that, if I put context again, it's 8%. With that, it's time for the next command. So next command is all about the model command. So the model command lets you switch which Claude model you are using in the middle of a session without restarting anything. This is very important. You don't need to restart. In the middle of the session also, you can switch the model. So let me show you how you can use that. But before that, let me go here and show you what are the different models that we have. We have this model, Claude Sonnet 4.6, Claude Opus, and all these things. So currently I'm using Claude 4.6, but let's move to, let's say I want to move to Claude Opus 4.6, right? So what I can do, I can copy this one and then I can come here and I can say model followed by the model name and then press enter. What it will do, it will change the model to Opus 4.6. Similar way, if I want to go back to the Claude Sonnet 4.6, I can copy this one here from here, and then here I can type model followed by the model API name and then press enter. What it will do, it will change the model to this new one. So this is very important because in the middle of the conversation, you can change the model and you don't need to restart the Claude. So basically all your previous context, all your previous conversation history will still be reserved, but you can change the model. Okay. With that, it's time for the next comment, which is basically, by the way, BTW. It's a / comment in Claude.ai that lets you insert background context into a conversation without that context being treated as part of your actual question or instruction. Think of it as whispering extra info to Claude on the side. So when you type /BTW followed by some text, Claude receives that as supplementary context, information that informs the response without being the focus of the conversation. So I am going to show you something here. So let's say I put this information /BTW, which is a by the way command, and it's telling I'm using Python 3.14 and I'm telling how do I handle authentication in my API. So if I press enter, what it will do, it will use this one. I'm using Python 3.14 as a supplementary information to provide answer to my real question, which is how do I handle authentication in my API. So it's trying to answer that question. And this is the recommendation that is being given to me. So what it is telling that I can use either the first API or the Flask to handle the authentication in my API. So if I go with the first API, this is what I need to do. If I go with the Flask, this is what I need to do. So looks good. Let's give one more information, which is this one. Let's tell that, by the way, I run a YouTube channel called Technical Potpourri focused on AI tools for the developer. So this is a context that I'm giving. So write me a short intro for a video about first MCP. So let's press enter. And here comes the short intro video. So this is what exactly the by the way comment is all about. Okay, with that, it's time for the next comment, which is basically the rewind. So we have all been there. You ask for a change and suddenly the whole build is broken. So what this rewind command will do, it will let you jump back to a previous checkpoint in the conversation. So let me show you what you can do. So let me show you how you can use that. So if I put rewind and press enter, it will tell me where I want to go back. So it can tell me I can want to go back to the clear. This is the command or the context or the model or this model. So let's say I want to go to this moment or this checkpoint, right? I can come here, select this one and then press enter. and then it is telling the restore. So I have three options here: restore the conversation, summarize from here, or never mind. So let me say I want to restore conversation here. I press enter, and then this is where I am now. So this command is very helpful. And the last command which I'm going to show you is called the doctor. So let's say your Claude is not behaving correctly, maybe it's not accessing the files, or your API keys are not working properly, and you don't want waste time debugging the tool. So in that case, what you can do, you can type the doctor command, and what it will do, it will check your network connectivity, your configuration integrity in seconds. It is ultimately a sanity check for your entire environment. So as you can see here, it's telling I'm currently running as a native one. This is my path, and auto update is enabled. Stable version is this. Everything looks good. So this is a very important command every time you face a problem with the Claude. So that's all for today. But before I finish, I want to give you some bonus tips. Here is how I actually use these comments together in a real workflow. So at the start of the session, I always choose the effort level depending on what I'm doing. Is it low effort or is it a high effort? Every 20 minutes, I always check the context. If it is getting full, I use the compact command to summarize the information, to compress the context. When I'm done, I use the copy to copy the output. If there's really some hard problem, then I always change my model to Opus model. And that's all the 10 Claude comments which I want to share with you so that you can take full advantage of that. So if you found this video helpful, please hit the like icon, please subscribe to my channel Technical Potpourri, and don't forget to hit on the bell icon, because next time when I'll publish videos like this, I want you to be notified first. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.